Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Sinister Six! We got a man made entirely of mutant beads. I get a buzz just thinking about it. Swarm! He is one cold-blooded killer, the Lizard. Hey ladies, how about a human lightning bolt? You want it, you got it. Electro! This next guy loved the animals, sometimes a little too much. Craven the Hunter. He killed his grandmother and tortured his mother's dog. My kind of guy.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Monday, February 15th. Happy Malcolm Brogdon Day to everyone out there. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, Mr. What You Need to Know, Tass Mellis.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Tassie. We got the Bassmaster, ripping him lips, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey.
Oh, the international man of mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Last but not least, making the magic happen. What a cold open that one was. It's JD.
Hello.
There he is. And here we are. Shout out to the stream team joining us live here on a Monday. Guys, please make sure you like and you comment and you subscribe and you share the show. Let's defeat the YouTube algorithm once and for all. We'll take it down from the inside out. Email us your questions and comments for this week's Beach Steppin' podcast. That's coming up later this week. So get them in, nodunks@theathletic.com, and go grab your No Dunks merch. I see Laylee's got on a nice one today, the No Dunks white hoodie. That is available at nodunks.com. We got the hoodies and the crew necks and the t-shirts and the shorts and the mugs and more to come too. So go to nodunks.com. All right, how's everybody doing? You guys pumped up here on a Monday?
Pumped up.
Pumped up. Nice. Well, Mondays we do NBA weekend winners and losers. Let's just get right into it. The winners. Trey, get us started. Where are you going? Who's your big winner of the weekend?
Oh, big winner of the weekend, Skeets. The Utah Jazz. The best team in the league right this very moment. That one's for you, Utah Jazz fans. On Friday, Jazz went out and beat the Bucks. They're 2-0 against the Bucks this season. Honestly, the Jazz basically led the entire game. This was a smash job. 27 for Gobert, 27 for Joe Ingles, 26 for Donovan Mitchell, 25 for Jordan Clarkson. The Jazz were dominant inside against, obviously, a great Bucks team. Royce O'Neal held Giannis to 2 points in the first half. He did score 27 in the second half, but the game was basically over then. Impressive stuff from the Jazz. But on Saturday, they beat the Heat. This one was close through the first half, but they really blew it out during the second and third quarters. Utah held Miami scoreless for 14 straight possessions during the second and third quarter. Went from a 36-31 Miami lead with 7:45 left in the second quarter to a 63-42 Jazz lead. 7:45 left in the third quarter. They're 22-5 right now after winning 18 of their last 19. It's the best start in Jazz history. And this is a little bone throw here. They are absolutely a title contender. Like I said, they're the best team in the league right this second. Sorry to you Jazz fans for saying it's going to be hard to beat LeBron. A healthy LeBron team goes to the finals every single year. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but I am upgrading the Jazz here. Utah fans were sad that I said that they were the Hawks from 2014-15. They're saying, we're way better than the Hawks. We got 2 All-Stars. Fair enough. Now you're the 2013-14 Pacers, which is honestly a bit better of a comp for the Jazz. They've got the 2 All-Stars. They've got the big guy in Rudy Gobert, similar to Roy Hibbert. They've got Donovan Mitchell, similar to Paul George, establishing themselves as stars. Just do not do a GQ photo shoot and everything should go fine. You might reach the hollow ground of being the 2010-11 Bulls, the best team to ever lose to LeBron James and his squads. But impressive stuff for the Jazz. They look like, at the very least, they look at like the second best team in the league. If you want to say that the Lakers are still there despite losing to the Nuggets, fine by me. But right now, the Jazz are straight up balling.
And it's nice to know there's no Lee Ellis curse, too, going on a Jazz podcast, not too long ago. I thought, Lee's going to go on there, and then they're just going to start losing, and everyone's going to blame you. Nope, they're still rolling. Trey said it all there, took you through the games. I think that second game was actually a more important win in a weird way, Lee, because we keep talking about the Jazz like, man, they're on fire from three. They got all these guys hitting at an unbelievable clip, three after three after three. Like, when's that going to come back to earth a little bit? Well, that game versus the Heat, they stunk from three, right? I think they finished 12 of 46, so they went cold. But they got it done with that defense, which we know is elite when Gobert's playing. They always are. So I think that was a really, really important win there. Just proving a little bit like it's like, yeah, it's nice when we're clicking offensively and all these threes are raining down here. But hey, don't forget that we can still win some of these ugly games. But yeah, you're not a jinx, Lely, is what I was getting.
No. In fact, quite the opposite. I was on the Jazz post-game show, apparently. I'm trying to secure that clip. I haven't been able to track it down yet. But I made the broadcast there for the pod that I had with the Jazz and talking about Joe Ingles, who actually tied his career high with 27 points on Friday night, but set a new career high with 7 triples on Friday night. And that game against the Jazz, yeah, it is interesting because against the Heat on Saturday, they're due for a bad game. And it looked like it was going to be that game in the first half because, as you mentioned there, they just could not hit a three. And their offense they just looked a little heavy-legged from, maybe getting up for that game against the Bucks on Friday and having such an emotional victory. Maybe they were just a bit heavy, but then they got it together and really stopped the Heat in the second half. So, yeah, this is certainly the most impressive, I think, of all their runs they've had last year when they had the big stretch. They were good. But this feels a little bit different because they're doing it so convincingly at both ends of the floor. And all those comparisons you bring up there, Trey, I think they're good and relevant. I also think there's something there with the Pistons of around that sort of 2002 to 2005 range. Even though the Pistons did win the championship and they made the finals again, they sort of had such good balance on both ends of the floor, which I see from the Utah Jazz. Now, the Jazz won't get any more than 2 All-Stars, and the Pistons had 4 there at one point when they were at their best. But I just think if you look at that sort of balance and depth they have, I can sort of see a similar team like that because the Pistons, I think, they kind of got lucky. They came and won that championship, ironically, against the Lakers when they beat Shaq and Kobe there, who kind of were infighting. But I don't think anyone sort of looked at them and thought, immediately the Pistons are going to be the team that sort of ends that dynasty, which they did. But again, part of that was because of the Lakers just coming to the end of their time there. But right now, I think, depending on what happens here with the Nets and Kevin Durant, of course, in the Eastern Conference, I think the Jazz have to be considered the second best team in the NBA, even though, the Lakers lost last night. I mean, as long as LeBron's out on the court, his team is going to be the best. It's going to be the favorite. But the Jazz are certainly impressing with the way they're playing the last 3-4 weeks really here.
Yeah, Tass, I saw Zilla right this morning. If this were a normal 82-game season, the Jazz would be on pace for 68 wins, which is like sort of mind-blowing, right? And you're like, wow, okay, that's an unbelievable number. Now, can they keep this up? We'll see. But are you convinced, that the Jazz are for real in the terms of at least being a title contender, or are they still a little step below and you got to see it in the playoffs? Where are you with them?
They're in the contender family, sure. Yeah, they're not the favorite, but they just have to keep getting these performances from a bunch of guys that are, I think, playing to their capability. I don't think a lot of these guys are playing way above their heads. Now, their 3-point shooting percentage, it's a little high across the board, but it's kind of believable because, besides Donovan Mitchell, who's always going to be great, Mike Conley's playing like his Grizzlies self, and Rudy Gobert's playing like his self. Joe Ingles playing to his capabilities. So it's not like they're playing way above their head. They're just all doing it at the same time. So that's the tough part. Can you keep this up? And the Pistons comparison I find interesting because they were good at the right time in the Eastern Conference. Everyone was weak, and that's why they had 4 All-Stars. So if the Jazz were in an Eastern Conference where you're playing with the Charlotte Hornets and Jamal McGlore's making the All-Star team, then you could squeeze in 4 All-Stars with Mike Conley and friends. No offense to the Scarborough man, Jamal McGlore. Love that guy. But the Eastern Conference at that time didn't have a lot of All-Stars flying through the gauntlet. So, yeah, that's the problem, is that they have to go through LeBron James, and they don't have a soft East to go through. Can they all keep it up at the same time? That's the thing. I think they're all good enough. I mentioned those guys. Jordan Clarkson has to keep it up in the playoffs, who I think you can probably believe in even more than a Joe Ingles, which is crazy that Jordan Clarkson has come on and played this great. But then, there's Royce O'Neal, who's really key for this team. And last year he had the yips in the postseason. So, when it's one of those teams that you have a lot of ifs, a lot of question marks, it's just easier to ride the back of LeBron James, and it's one question mark, and he's answered that question mark so many times. So that's what we're looking at here with the Jazz. It's great that they've come on. They're playing
phenomenal ball, and they're shooting the three so well. So I enjoy it. I enjoyed that Bucks game a lot, and so did Giannis on the other side when he said, "Man, they're the best team in the league. They look like us last year. I wish we were as good as them."
That's the kiss of death, though. Don't do that. No, that means the Jazz are going out in the second round, does it? Yeah. I mean, it's impressive that they're continuing this winning streak without Mike Conley, right? Who's missed the last 4 games. I think it would have been pretty fair if they had lost 1 or 2 of these and you've been like, yeah, they're missing Conley. I mean, Lee had him as the best player in the league, MVP and stuff like that. But instead, they continue to keep rolling here. And like you said, Tass, it's like they're just getting contributions from every single guy across the board. Everybody is chipping in, and that's a dangerous team. They're rolling right now. They do not want to take any sort of like all-star break or anything like that. Like, that's the last thing a team like this wants to do. So Utah Jazz, winner of the weekend, lock it in. That was a no-brainer. I'll go next here. Phoenix Suns, I'd like to give a winner of the weekend to. 2-0 over the weekend. They've extended their winning streak to 6 in a row. Hey, that's good for Phoenix. They beat Philly over the weekend, 120-111. And then they followed it up by taking care of the shorthanded Magic, 109-90. Game was never particularly close. The Magic were playing with like 8 guys. But still, I like how the Suns just took care of business, got it done. They've won 9 of their past 10 games. They've improved to 17-9. They're an interesting team because you start saying, well, where are they in consideration for all of this? Are they still a tier below your 2 LA teams and your Utah Jazz? Probably. But aren't they at the top of that list with your other teams like Denver and Portland? Who knows? Maybe. But I love what I saw from them. I love that Booker was special late in the Sixers game, 24 points in the second half, and he was special early versus the Magic, just putting them to sleep, 17 in the first quarter. And, really, really making your all-star selection case even more muddled. I know some people were keeping them out of the conversation, didn't maybe have them on their list. We're showing love to guys like Mike Conley. I get that before the injury. But Booker is like, come on, of late here. He's 28 points per game over this 7-game homestand, shooting lights out like 55% from the floor. He was already an all-star. I mean, it's going to be difficult with their record to not have him in the mix. I understand the Chris Paul situation. You show him love too. But to me, Booker's still their best player. He's got it going. He's found his little groove now. He's playing more, of course. He's figured out how to play a little bit better with Chris Paul. And that's nice. So good win. Good win. And, arguably sort of like we were just talking with the Jazz, the ugly win over the Heat. The Suns win over the Magic in a weird way is, I don't know. I don't want to speak for the Phoenix fan base, but they've had some bad losses this year, Phoenix, to bad teams. Blowout loss to the Wizards. They no-showed versus OKC. I think they lost to Detroit as well. So, like, just to take care of business, like they were 9-6 against teams below 500. That's okay, but they could be better. So, nice win. Phoenix, winner of the weekend. I'm not sure I'm going to get any objections from you guys, but they're coming on here, and they're a fun watch. I love Bridges. We've talked about Ayton before, and they got the stars in Booker and Chris Paul, Trey.
Yeah, it was fun watching Booker cooking the Sixers, a great defensive team. And, it shows you the difference between a game in the middle of February and something in the playoffs, because the Sixers came out and put Danny Green on Devin Booker, and that was not working. No. Devin Booker was straight up cooking this man, pulling up from basically half court, no problem. Eventually, it was Matisse Thybulle and Ben Simmons, two elite defenders on the Sixers, but at that point, it honestly didn't matter. Once Booker was in his zone, the man was rolling. There was nothing the Sixers could do to stop him. That's impressive stuff. And yeah, an ugly win is nice too, but when you're beating one of the best teams in the league handily, I love to see it. Yeah. Devin Booker is going to be an all-star. The Suns are going to be a playoff team, and winning a first-round series, I think, is a legitimately good goal for them. They haven't been to the playoffs in 11 seasons, so making it back is an accomplishment in the first place. But with Chris Paul, with Devin Booker, they got 2 guys who can do it in the fourth quarter. Going to be a tough team to beat come playoff time. Yeah,
that Booker 3 and Simmons I guess. I mean, Booker was like 30-plus feet out to sort of ice the game, Lily. You're agreeing with me. He had a step back on him, too. Yeah. Like Trey said, Danny was on him, and then they were like, what are you guys doing? And then it was like, it didn't matter who was on him. He can create enough space, and he's got a quick enough release.
Yeah, and that's what you want to see from Devin Booker. I mean, to take that step up, to be the guy who's going to take the shots against the best defender for his team. I mean, it's time for him to do that. And I think you mentioned it there, Skeets. I think what you're really seeing here is he's figured out how to play alongside Chris Paul. Because at the start of the season, it was okay, but they're now sort of a little bit more understanding. Like, Chris Paul will put you in the right position, but you're the one who has to also step up and take these big shots in those big moments. And we saw it down in the bubble that Booker looked like he was ready for those moments. And now the regular season's here, and we're wondering, was that just a bit of a bubble burst, but instead he's going out there and playing. And yeah, you love it when he goes against Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons has been getting a lot more attention for his impressive defense lately. And Booker took it right at him. So great to see. 6 wins kind of snuck up on you too a little bit there, I think, the Suns. I think that which is good. They're sort of flying under the radar. They're 4th right now in the West. Can they hold on to that position? I think that's key for them to do that, to get a home court advantage in the first round if things can play out from here. But we still need to see it a little bit more sustained throughout the course of the season. I think that's the difference between them and the Jazz right now. The Jazz have shown us this before, whereas this is the first time the Suns have been anywhere near the playoffs, really, since Devin Booker's even been in the league. So,
second time, mate, you just mentioned the bubble. This is the second time they've been near the playoffs. 8-0, 2 stretches of incredible basketball. Good enough for me to be a believer these days.
Hey, I'm not deep in the NBA gossip game, but so maybe Trey or maybe Lee or Taz could confirm this. Did Booker steal Simmons' girl, or just Ben Simmons and I know it's one of the Jenner girls, right?
Yeah,
they parted ways, and then Booker
Lee knows.
Booker is now with her. Is that correct?
I don't know who's with who right now, but I know that they both are interested in Kendall. I think it is.
I think Booker is with her now. I think they are
right, because I think she was with Blake Griffin originally, and then because he and Ben Simmons were getting into it a little bit on the court. And then and now it's moved on to Devin Booker, apparently. So
yeah. Wasn't Jordan Clarkson a 6th man in that situation?
Oh, jeez, I'm not sure.
We're trying to keep up with the Kendalls. It's tough.
Okay.
Kendalls.
Thankfully, we don't know every single detail about that.
Yeah, I know. We vaguely know.
It's not even the rich one either, is she? I think Kylie's the one with all the money, isn't she?
I think they're both doing all right. Yeah,
I think they're okay.
Also, I'm not sure Booker and Simmons are worrying about their finances. And trying to find someone that makes more money than them.
Devin Booker was on our summer league show. He had his mom hold his 24 karat gold phone. The phone case was 24 karat, and that's when he was a 19-year-old kid. So he's doing all right too.
Yeah, well, one of them got taken off the Forbes rich list because she inflated her assets. I don't know which one it was, but
the nerve.
Yeah. I'm not going to keep going on the camera. Good on him. Good on him. It's great to see. It's great to see the family get a bit of a break there and make some money. It's good to see.
Okay. So yeah, Suns. Lee, let's go to you next. Who's your winner of the weekend?
Well, look, you don't have to have a perfect weekend to be a winner. And that's why I'm going with the Charlotte Hornets, because last night, after the first quarter against the San Antonio Spurs, they were up 16 points after a big win on Friday night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I thought, that's it. Great.
You just come in, their winners. And said, that'll do.
The Hornets up 16, then they gave up 47 points in the second quarter. Whew, that's a tough one to the Spurs. Now, but look, the reason I bring them up is because there was no Gordon Hayward last night. There was no PJ Washington. And then they also lost Devontae Graham in the second half there. So they were shorthanded. Okay, that happens. But they were still in this game. And even though it was a 12-point margin in the end, it was a lot closer. And it was largely because of Terry Rozier playing fantastic basketball again. He got the team off to a great start, kept them in it. And LaMelo Ball was also good. But they really, really, really missed Gordon Hayward last night. Just that steady hand on offense to be able to give them a basket. Their offense was just lacking so much. And that's a good sign for Charlotte to see just how impactful Gordon Hayward is, but they didn't completely fall apart either. I think that's what's important here. But also go back to Friday night's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was one of those games. I fired that one up on Saturday morning thinking, what's this one going to be about? And it was actually a really good game. You saw a great battle between Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball a couple of times, the two going at each other. Mm-hmm. But Terry Rozier in that one also had 41, was huge down the stretch in that one, winning the game for the team. He's been really fun to watch. He's an interesting player because I sort of think, obviously LaMelo Ball, that it's his team going forward. So Rozier is probably available to other teams. But he's playing such good basketball that maybe the Hornets are like, no, let's just stay with what we've got for now. They've never been really in this position for a long time where they're, in playoff contention. Now, they're 2 games below 500, but they're still in the East playoffs. And I think they are going to make the playoffs. I think they are. I think that they've shown enough in this early stage that they are going to be able to keep this up and at least win more games than they lose. I mean, 500 might get you in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, but I just like the way they're really playing and they're fighting, they're hustling, they're staying in games. And I think that last night was a tough one, but that's fine. You know, you lose to the San Antonio Spurs when you're shorthanded. That's okay. But they've got some really good talented players on that. James Borrego's done a great job coaching that team. And so I wish they'd won last night because they would have gone back to 500. But look, it's different if they got just absolutely drilled without Gordon Hayward there. You'd be like, well, see, they can't do anything without him. But you know, great fun game anyway, fun weekend. They're honestly one of the most fun teams to watch right now.
That's true.
Maybe it's Eric Collins. I don't know. He is awesome, of course, but I just didn't want to just discount them because they lost the game last night. They're playing well. Enjoy the Hornets.
I think you've upset some other fan bases with this Hornets pick for your win of the weekend. Because it was funny. I saw you in the doc. I saw you write down the Hornets. I was like, that makes sense at the time because you put it in like early in the game and they were up on the Spurs. They had that awesome win on Friday. I'm like, okay. And then I asked you this morning, Lee, because I saw it stay in the doc. I'm like, you taking the Hornets? You really running with the Hornets here? Yep. That'll do.
Look,
but what about the Spurs fans? Why couldn't you give them a winner of the weekend? And their team, the Blazers, the Pistons, for crying out loud. Yeah.
Pistons, yeah. DeJounte Murray was excellent too for the San Antonio Spurs. But did you guys see the little hesitation from Terry Rozier last night?
Oh, the hezzy. Yeah, you flipped it.
Oh, my God. That probably was the moment I was like, all right, they're in. I don't care what happens for the rest of the night. They're in. But yeah, there are a lot of those other teams you mentioned. Yep, good winners. But I'm riding the Hornets. I'm riding them.
Oh, my goodness.
I want them in the playoffs. Come on, Hornies. We can do it.
Speaking of Hornies, speaking of all the moans and groans happening when that Terry Rozier hesitation happened, Eric Collins, my God, he was loving it. And it was sort of Valentine's Day themed. But at the end of that first quarter, when Terry Rozier was getting it in each and every way he wanted it, he was scoring however he wanted. Eric Collins, play-by-play man of the Charlotte Hornets, was just yelling at the end of the first quarter. Nothing was happening. Hornets were kind of dribbling out the possession, but he yelled 12 minutes of ecstasy because they were just so good on Valentine's Day. He just couldn't contain himself, just like Lee. That's why Lee got in the dock and saw those 12 minutes from Terry Rozier. He's like, I'm done. This is good. I mean, Terry Rozier was balling, absolutely balling in that first quarter, no doubt. But like the Spurs on the other side, the 16-11. Talk about the Suns, talk about the Jazz. Those are three under the radar, small market teams that are playing pretty well in the Western Conference that some of them get a winner of the weekend, some do not.
Yeah, you don't have to have a perfect weekend to be a winner of the weekend. You just have to have a good 48 minutes and then a good 12 minutes. So 60 good minutes and you're in.
Wow. Terry Rozier's like the last quarter of Friday night and the first quarter of last night, I think he would have combined for about 30 points because he cooked the Wolves down the stretch and then lit up the Spurs. But that's the way it goes sometimes in basketball, isn't it? Like honestly, again though, to me, it's about the Hornets being a bit more fun to watch than they've been in years gone by. And there's some substance there to it. They're still figuring it out, but they're certainly on the rise anyway right now. And hopefully they get Gordon Hayward back. He only had back stiffness, I think it was, they said. So stiffness on Valentine's Day.
The Hornies got stiffness.
He's got enough kids.
And PJ Washington was out, I believe, for coronavirus protocol. So, again, who knows exactly how long he's going to be out there. And Devontae Graham had a bit of a knee injury. Not really clear how long he's out, but let's hope those guys are back out on the floor very soon.
Okay, just a few other notes with the Hornets. One, back to Collins, Eric Collins, play-by-play man for the Hornets. We are definitely going to get him, Trey. I know you tweeted this a while ago, that he's going to yell Mortal Kombat at some point on the broadcast. Like, I hope to God he does, just because it'd be hilarious. Taz, I saw you tag him in a tweet, and I was like, I didn't think he was on Twitter. And then I clicked through, and the guy, he is on Twitter. It is him. It's the Eric Collins, but I don't think he's been active since, was it like 2013, I want to say, maybe 14, something like that.
It's been a quiet touchdown of years, a good 7 years, maybe a 2-point conversion in there too, since he's been on there.
Crazy stuff. And then the other thing with LaMelo, Lee, I don't know if you saw this. One, he's changed his tune when the Airbnb nickname. Remember I brought this up last week? He was asked about it. I saw LaMelo Ball after a good game that he had. He was on the broadcast. Hey, what do you think of Airbnb for the Bridges Ball connection? B&B, you're in the air, you're throwing all these oops. He didn't like it at the time, right? I told you guys. He's like, But now he's all into it, apparently. He's like, yep, Airbnb, because Airbnb themselves tweeted about it, and then LaMelo retweeted it. So maybe he sees some dollar signs there for him. But Breaking Tea has a great Airbnb shirt. I just wanted to slide that in there, the company we use to make our T-shirts. Go check that out. Looks really cool. And then this would probably be a loser of the weekend in my book, Lee. Did you see that the NBA wants LaMelo Ball to participate in the skills challenge? So we might see Ball at the All-Star weekend after all. I say lose to the weekend because I can't believe this event's still around.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about any of that. No, look, LaMelo was great again, though. Some of those fancy passes, some of those sexy passes. Talk about a sexy pass. I don't know if I'm stepping on anyone's toes here. Did you see Facundo last night against the...
he nearly took off Kuzma's ear there. Eh?
Oh.
What a beauty that was. And then the Jazz had a couple of incredible, very solid plays over the weekend.
I like the picture of Lee Ellis on Valentine's Day. Hey, Roxy, come check this out. Look at this Campazzo pass here. Ooh, turn the lights down, light the candles, a little chocolate, Lily.
Are you ready to Facundo?
Yeah, it's like the Japanese twins in Austin Powers. Fuck you and fuck me.
Great callback.
Guys, hold on. There's going to be a skills challenge, a 3-point contest, a dunk contest, and an all-star game all in the same night.
One night. Yep.
Wow, like Mo Verney, it's going to be a long night. We got to stock up on energy.
It's going to be a long night. I'm going to stock up on energy.
It's all over it. All right, Tassie, why don't you finish us off here? Winner of the weekend, where are you going?
Well, the NBA trying to reel in the casual fan was a great weekend for them. They're a winner.
Okay.
When it comes to that, because all the national TV games were real entertaining, especially the week after the Super Bowl. You might get some NFL fans looking for some sports on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Boom. 5 for 5. The NBA went fantastic. ESPN, ABC, ESPN, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They stacked it. Pels Mavericks on Friday. You had Doncic going for 46 points. You had Zion Williamson, a guy who looks like a football player, 36 points in that one. Grizzlies Lakers followed that up. Anthony Davis had his 35 points in his return from injury. Nets Warriors wasn't a great game on Saturday, but the storylines were there. Kevin Durant going back to Golden State, a lot of hugging. There was a lot of promos. So you're into it. I was into it anyways for that reason and that reason only, because I was excited on a Saturday night. Usually I'm trying to watch something else. I'm trying to stay away from basketball. Can't go 7 nights a week. But I told Danielle, we got to put on this game. It's a big game. So she said, give me the background. And I said, they've got 1,000 promos running. I can't do it as well as ESPN.
Just watch
ABC. Just watch this. Click. So it was good. Blazers Mavericks on Sunday. Doncic had 44. That ball that rimmed out, that almost tied it to go to overtime. Lillard had 34, so it went down to the wire. And then Lakers Nuggets, Joker triple-double, and LeBron near triple-double. Stacked lineup. Also, it was a win for the NBA, trying to get it any fan who's hanging around the television, and also for anybody who doesn't have League Pass, just because you could get this on basic cable if you're still doing that, YouTube TV, if you're slinging it, anything. You probably saw these games. So it was just a solid weekend for the National Basketball Association when there's not as many sports options. It felt like, there's a time in the bubble, August, September, November, or October, there were so many sports on. But now there's like no sports on, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
Hold on. The Daytona 500 was on yesterday.
Excuse me?
I think it was delayed all day or something. Trey, you know what was going on? I saw it was on at night. I'm like, what the hell? I thought they ran this thing in the middle of the day. It must have been a lot of rain or something that kept pushing it back. Is that correct? You're looking it up right now.
Yep.
It ended after midnight.
It ended after midnight.
Yeah, and there was a 5-hour delay.
Oh, for weather. Yeah, okay.
And then there was also a 16-car crash right before the delays.
Well, that'll do it too. Is everyone was okay? I hope.
I
thought I did hear someone about maybe getting air vac out. So that's never.
Oh,
good.
really? Oh,
yeah. But it may have been just precautionary too, for all I know. But okay, Tass, I like that one. You're right. Because it feels like we haven't had. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting the odd one here or there, but the greatest games on national broadcast this year. You know what I mean? Like there hasn't been a ton of them. So a good weekend of a lot of entertaining close games. Obviously, big stars coming through in the clutch. So good one there. Just mini winners again. Spurs, Blazers, Pistons. Really good weekends. Sort of staying undefeated. I know that doesn't matter to Lily, but it counts for something here. And guys, the streak continues. And what's that streak? A wedgie a weekend. I don't think we've missed a weekend this season without a wedgie, and we got one more from two of our favorite guys in the league, the Fortress. Yeah, that's right. John Collins and Miles Turner combining for the awesome block wedgie there from Miles Turner on
Very
Collins
nice.
dunking him. So that is number 20. We are at 20 already, trying to get to 50. That's always the goal. Trying to set the all-time record, which is what? 54?
51, isn't it?
No, I always think it's 54.
I think
So look at this too. Go to wedgietracker.com. No Dunks fan Ricardo put this together with a little inspiration from Nick. The Wedgie Tracker. And we're just showing you like a screen grab of it right now for everybody on the stream team. But again, if you go to wedgietracker.com, it's really cool. You'll see where we're at in the wedgie race, what pace we're on. We're on pace for 59 right now. My goodness. And you can actually scroll down and there's a link to watch or a video to watch every wedgie this season. This is really cool. This is just really well done. So shout out to Ricardo for putting this together.
I hope every time there's a broadcaster that says, whoa, that's the first one we've seen in years when they have a wedgie, the producer will go, hey, put up wedgietracker.com.
Right.
20 this season. Oh,
Yeah.
Silly me.
Okay, so the record's 51. I thought we got higher, but I guess not.
I mean, we were just riding that high. It probably felt like we had 100 wedgies that season, but no, just 51. That was the year of the Shaq wedgie where we sacrificed Skeet's butt to make sure we got there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's 51.
Yep. Okay. All right, let's get to NBA weekend losers. There's no shortage, I feel like, of losers sort of to pick from here. Tass, why don't you get it started, though?
I'll start us off with the Milwaukee Bucks and take a step back and say that they're second in the East. They're 16-11, but they're nowhere close to being as dominant as they were the last two seasons when they won the 1 seed. So that's why they reworked with their offense in the offseason. They went and got a bunch of shooters to surround Giannis and Chris Middleton. And they got Drew Holiday as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, I'm back. I guess what happened to me? What?
No, you just stopped talking, but I guess your Wi-Fi crapped out.
Whoa, weird stuff. And that's why they got Drew Holiday as well. And it's worked. Their offense has just jumped up in terms of shooting the three. They are the number 1 offense in the league, but I still have worries about their crunch time execution. You saw it against OKC on Sunday night, who were playing Al Horford, Kenrich Williams, Darius Baisley, Lou Dort, and Justin Jackson. They just didn't know where to go in the final minutes of a game. So in the final minutes of a playoff game, when threes get a little bit tighter, a little bit more contested, like they are bound to get, a team is going to take away the threes. What the heck happens with Giannis and Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday? Now, Drew Holiday wasn't in this game, but it doesn't matter. You shouldn't lose to OKC, who doesn't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for God's sake. So there's that problem on that end, I think, even though they've got the number 1 offense in the league. And then there's problems on the defensive end because they were the best defense last year and they've dropped well below 10th this year right now. But that comes with a caveat. I actually think you got to give some kudos to Mike Budenholzer and the Bucks coaching staff for trying some things, because usually they just drop the big guy back. We're taking away the rim, shoot your threes. But they know that doesn't work because Miami solved them in the postseason. They can be solved with the 3 ball. So they're doing some other things. They're switching on the outside sometimes. They're just not dropping back. They're using their big man like Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez to go out there and guard some guys on the perimeter. But those guys just aren't that great at it. And they just don't have a lot of great defensive personnel, especially in that second unit. So I think there's worries on both sides. After they lost to the Utah Jazz, they got spanked. And then on Sunday when they lost to OKC, a shorthanded OKC team, the only team in the league that's trying to lose, managed to beat the Bucks. Again, that was reminiscent of when they lost to the Raptors a couple of years ago and when they lost to the Heat. They just didn't have answers down the stretch. So Drew Holiday could solve that, I guess. And the offense, again, has definitely picked up with all those moves that they brought in a lot of 3-point shooters, but they also brought in a lot of bad defensive players. So it's not looking great. I mean, they are going to win a lot of regular season games. 16-11, they should continue to win regular season games, but I'm not super pumped for the playoff Milwaukee Bucks, although, maybe the defense comes together as the season goes along. And again, Coach Bud is trying things, but I'm not super excited. This was supposed to be the year that Giannis figured it out. TBD for the Bucks.
No shortage again of Eastern Conference teams, Trey, to pick from here that had rough weekends. Bucks are an obvious one. Not inspiring tasks all that much and racking up the L's. Who do you have?
Also a bad weekend for the Beantown boys. Lost Friday versus the Pistons. No Kemba Walker, no Marcus Smart. They just couldn't stop Sadiq Bey.
Yeah.
Shout out Raphael Sadiq. Played at my wedding. But 30 points, 7 for 7 from 3 for Sadiq Bey. 12 rebounds. He had a clutch 3 with about 40 seconds left to ice things when the Celtics were making a little bit of a comeback. Number to take away from this, file it in your little back pocket for a second. 15 assists on 36 makes for the Celtics. That's not a lot. Sunday, though, was rock bottom. Kemba Walker was back, and the Celtics lost to the Wizards. Zero effort, zero oomph for Boston in this game. They trailed almost the entire game. The biggest deficit was 24. This was the first time all season the Wizards have held a team under 100 points. That's crazy to me. Celtics now have lost 4 of 5. They've lost 10 of 16, and just like they only had 15 assists on 36 makes on Friday, 14 assists for the Celtics on Sunday on 32 makes. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they are balling, but they're not natural creators. They're both improving that part of their game. The Pistons and Wizards, I thought, both did a pretty good job of getting into the point guards, whether that be Kemba Walker, whether it be Tatum handling the ball and really clogging the lanes, because there's no scary shooters on the Celtics outside of Tatum, Brown, and Kemba Walker, the guys who are shooting the ball but usually have the ball. The other big issue is that they never replaced Gordon Hayward. Like, we kind of get lost in the Hornets side of things, whether this is a good contract, what he's going to do when he gets there. But this was a major piece that departed from the Celtics for nothing. And he is everything that they're missing: shooting, playmaking, and ultimately depth. Danny Ainge is going to have to do something here at the trade deadline. They look like they're a shooter short. They look like they're a big man short. They just don't have the cohesiveness that you would imagine from a team who's been playing together for a few seasons at this point. So, we always talk about Danny Ainge getting active at the trade deadline. It's often striking out on big name players, but they should also be targeting some lower level guys just so that they can have some more scary shooters. I thought that the best spot for JJ Redick was going to be Philadelphia. I think, Tass, you said Boston, and I'm thinking Boston's got to be the place. They just got to have somebody out there who can open up the floor for Tatum and Brown and who are ready to shoot a 3 as soon as they catch the ball. Aaron Nesmith, he's supposed to be a shooter, but he's still just a rookie. He's not ready to shoot the ball every single time he catches it. Changes need to be made in Boston. Surely Trader Danny will get busy on the phones, but right now they're not looking like an Eastern Conference contender to me.
Yeah, Lily, put on your green hat. Turn into cheese for a second here. You're a Beantown boy. I heard Simmons and KOC, 2 Beantown boys themselves, talking about, what do they need to do? Boston, they got to switch things up here. Do we got to press the panic button and all that? Is there a move to be made? I know Simmons was high on getting your guy Vucevic in the mix. Thaddeus Young is sort of like maybe a more attainable guy from Trey's Chicago Bulls, possibly at least. Is there anyone else that you think could help? I mean, Redick is a great call. You can always add a shooter, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think in the middle is probably where they need to address first with, Daniel Tice, who's not bad, but he spreads the floor. He's a good modern big, but I think they're also lacking just a genuine big down there, like an Andre Drummond. I'm not sure if they can get hold of him. I'm not sure if that's who they're targeting, but I think that's one of the areas. And then the shooting. I mean, Jason Tatum had maybe one of his worst games of his career yesterday. He'll come back. He's fine. There's no problems there. And Jaylen Brown, he's also been good as well. So they've got the 2 legit stars.
What about Kemba, though? What about Kemba?
Kemba's figuring things out a little bit. Obviously, coming back from an injury, it's a little hard to get into the groove. But when he's at his best, I think the Celtics, again, they're second or third in the Eastern Conference. They're just struggling a little bit right now. I mean, losing to the Wizards is a bad one. The Pistons are not great either, but the Wizards stunk it up because it was like that was their sort of, okay, lose to the Pistons, let's have a bounce back performance here, which didn't happen. So, they also did miss some games there, the Celtics, due to the coronavirus stuff. So maybe that's a part of it. Maybe.
Okay, so you're not panicking by the sounds of it. You're saying you're like basically saying the Celtics' 4 best players have barely played together. I think it's crazy. It's like Tatum, Brown, Walker, and Smart have played something like less than 30 minutes together this season because of all those things you said, guys, in and out, in and out. So you're just like, let's relax and stand pat and we'll get this going here. While some people, maybe Tass, I know you talked a little bit about it on what you need to know today. Like, is there something more here? Do they need to shake it up like Trey's saying? What do you think?
Well, I think the biggest acquisition they're going to make is Marcus Smart coming back. He's just their heartbeat. He just makes the ball move, and because sometimes he gets a little shot happy, but he knows that he's got to drive and find people. And that's what watching Jason Tatum and the Celtics against the Wizards brought up to me, was just that isolation basketball where it's, hey, it's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn. Everybody trying to get off, and somebody needs to be the glue guy to make it happen. I do like the JJ Redick acquisition because at least the man is going to run around. That's what he does. He just runs around screens. So he's not just going to be waiting for the ball. They need that. They need they need player movement. They need passing. And I think Tristan Thompson's got to get more of a role in the middle. But I think Smart is really, as soon as they get him back, they're 500 right now. It's not impressive, but they've had so many guys come in and out of the lineup. Of course, they should be looking for somebody. I don't know. It's something like 4 weeks away. I think the trade deadline is, going into March, but they'll start with Smart and then go from there, I think, anyways. But that was painful. And I don't know if reading into it, Jaylen Brown was asked post game about the ball movement, and he just sat there. He just sat there like me with an internet malfunction, just quiet. Just quiet. He didn't answer. I don't know if he was frozen or something, but he just stopped. He wasn't. He literally wasn't frozen. But then he took him like 5 seconds to say no comment. I don't know if he's pissed at anybody, because usually, number one, he's a well-spoken guy. Number two, he ain't afraid of the mic. So I was just a little bit shocked for him to do that. So things definitely aren't going good. And their defense is not good. They are always a good defensive team, but they've dropped below 10th. I think it's just a weird year for the team's lacking cohesion because of so many guys in and out. I think that's a part of it, but we expected the Celtics to be good because they've been good before. So I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't know if Bill and his dad have the answers. I don't think anybody does.
I'm not sure. I don't think Dr. Bill's very happy, or what's his name? Is he also Bill Simmons? Isn't it Bill Simmons Jr.? Is it? No, it's I can't remember Bill Simmons' dad's name. I think it's his dad. He's not happy though with Kemba. He's not happy with Tristan Thompson. I mean, it's the last thing he wants, Tass. You're saying no, Tristan Thompson more of a role. Oh, not Dr. Simmons. You can get him out of here. He's been a bum, according to him. We'll see. I'm giving them time still because those guys haven't played together. They're still good, but Kemba's important. And if he is like this weird 1 for 12 type shooting one game and then sort of has to go on the next, but then bounces back, they need some consistency from him. But I'm with you on Marcus Smart. He's like the Kyle Lowry, Draymond Green. Like, he's that guy. He's not a superstar by any means, but he, God, helps your chances to win a basketball game just with all the little things he does and playing hard, at least playing smart most of the time, despite jacking up some crazy shots. But you got to allow him some of those. We'll see. Any moves to be made, Trey? I didn't really sort of ask you with them. Is there something that you like besides the Redick, or is there a big guy, I guess is the best way to put it?
It's a great who says no. If the Magic decide to be sellers here, finally, who says no? Kemba Walker for Vucevic and Terrence Ross. That solves kind of all of the Celtics' problems, if you ask me. And they've got some picks that they could throw in as well. You're talking about a marketable guy going down to Orlando, a point guard that they haven't had for years and years and years. Maybe they get some picks as well. Who says no?
Lee, what do you think? We don't have it in the trade machine. You're not going to fire it up now.
Works.
Who says no? Yeah, he's done his homework. What do you think?
So the Magic get Kemba.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I just wonder what his value is outside the Celtics, given that he is battling some injuries at the moment.
And it doesn't he's got the Magic drafted Cole Anthony a little bit, but maybe you want him to obviously be tutored a little bit.
Because he would still have 2 years on a fairly hefty deal there too for Kemba. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's around 30 million per for the last couple or something like that. So I'm not sure if the Magic would. I mean, it depends on those picks. Yeah, if the Magic get 2 firsts maybe out of it as well, they're like, sure, let's do it, because they need them. The Magic are going nowhere, so they may as well move on and see if they can restock their draft assets.
I actually don't mind Terrence Ross on the Celtics either. I think there's a little something there, a little spark plug off the bench shooting away. Okay, so we got sorry, go ahead, Tess.
No, I just said big time. I think, the Fultz is there long-term in Orlando too, so that's a bit of an issue.
A lot of point guards
a lot of guards, but
a lot of smaller guards,
They may take anybody if it's attached to draft picks.
Yeah, that's right, which the Celtics do have. Okay, so Bucks, Celtics. Lee, who you got? Loser of the weekend.
Well, you can have a good weekend and still have a bad weekend.
Oh boy.
So I'm going with the Charlotte Hornet. No, of course not. I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets, specifically Kevin Durant, because he made his return after sitting out the last week with coronavirus protocols. He came back against the Golden State Warriors national broadcast game. We were looking forward to this one, and it stunk too. They've had 2 games, and this one was a stinker. Kevin Durant himself was fine, had 20 points, but after the game we learned he has a strained hamstring. He's going to be missing for the next 2 games, which is rather interesting because a hamstring is one of those injuries I've heard people say sometimes before. It's like being a little bit pregnant. You can't be just a bit pregnant. You're either got a hamstring tear or you haven't. Okay. So I hope it's only 2 games, and I hope it's more just precautionary here because, if he can't, if he misses more time, then the Nets obviously are going to struggle without him. But when he's on the floor, I just feel they have so much more control because Kevin Durant is just like their father. It's like, listen, guys, we're not going to get crazy. There's not going to be too much infighting or anything like that. If I'm out here, we're a great team. And, again, he looked fine in his comeback, but now he sits out for a couple of games and they're on a long West Coast trip. And they've got the Clippers and the Lakers coming up. So, you wonder if I don't think he'd be resting. I don't think it's a rest thing. I think he must have tweaked something after just not playing for us. It doesn't make sense to me that they would just say, all right, you sit out these next couple of games. So I hope he's back and I hope he's healthy because we've missed so much of Kevin Durant. Obviously, with the Achilles injury, missed the entire last season. And now he's missed significant games here due to coronavirus. So I hope he's back soon. And I hope he's back to playing the way he does because he's just a beautiful basketball player to watch out on the court.
Beautiful indeed. And we could throw in the Anthony Davis, obviously injury to the Lakers last night. Looks like he's going to be out probably. I know we're getting the MRI, I believe, today for AD to see how serious hopefully it's not serious of injury he has to his Achilles there. Didn't look good. Didn't look the way he was walking off, a little gingerly there, but we'll find out. But even if it's the best possible news, I'm going to assume he's going to be out for, I don't know, a couple of games at the minimum, right, Tass? So now LeBron's asked to do even more. Maybe it helps his MVP case, but could that backfire for the Lakers down the line as you get into the playoffs with that heavy load?
Yeah, Anthony Davis got to chill. That's for sure. I think they've won a championship. On the other side, Kevin Durant, he wants to play. You saw him when he was told against the Raptors, I think it was 10 days ago now, that he had to be taken off the floor. He threw that water bottle. He was pissed. He got back on Saturday. There's no way that this is rest. They want him to play bad, and they need to play together if they want to win a championship. That's why it feels a little bit like the Clippers situation last year when guys were in and out of the lineup. Paul George was hurt, Kawhi Leonard resting a bunch of games, then Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, a bunch of guys. Kyrie's been out, James Harden hasn't been in shape, Kevin Durant in and out of the lineup. It just feels like they're never going to get on the same page. So doing some quick math this morning, those 3 guys, even if they played the rest of the season after these 2 games that Durant's going to miss, they're going to play like 49 games together going into the postseason. That's not a lot. It's Clippers-esque, although Paul George and Kawhi only played 32 games together going into the bubble. So KD, I agree with Lee in that he's their leader. He keeps everything together, and I'm sure he's angry right now. And I'm angry as a basketball fan. We're gonna miss him against the Suns on Tuesday for sure, and hopefully on Thursday we see him against the Lakers because that's when he's due to come back. Hopefully. We want to see some KD out there, and the Nets desperately want to see him. You can hear it in Steve Nash's voice every time he's asked the same freaking question about chemistry and all that. Yeah, we got to get our guys to play together, and it's just not happening enough. But then they go out and then they beat whoever they want. So that's why I feel like they can still come out of the East. But yeah, they need him back on the floor.
Only way to build that chemistry is put the reps in, just like us, right? Hey, guys?
Exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
You want some chemistry, Skeets? We're getting a little bit of breaking news going on around here. Shams bomb.
Uh-oh.
The Raptors and Cavaliers are engaged in active talks on potential Andre Drummond deal to the Toronto/Tampa Raptors. Woj follows up saying in a report with Brian Windhorst, the Cleveland Cavaliers are no longer planning to play center Andre Drummond as they work to trade the 2-time All-Star prior to the trade deadline. We're going to Drummond trade here. pretty soon, and it seems like it might be those big old Raptors.
Wow. Well, that was my loser of the weekend, so that's a great timing there by Shams, Woj, and Trey Kirby with the breaking news.
Chemistry.
Yeah, baby. I had the Raptors. Okay, this is interesting because I was actually coming on here today to say this. I am done talking about the Toronto Raptors until they're either over 500 or they're in the news because of a trade. So maybe we'll be talking about the Raptors over the next couple of days if a Drummond trade happens, because they lose to the Wolves over the weekend on Sunday. There is absolutely no reason to lose to the Wolves right now. I do not care if you're missing OG. I do not care who is in there and who isn't. Brutal loss. They played down to their competition. Yeah, I mean, then Lowry realized that and was like, what are we doing here? And gave it his all at the end. But they just did it all a little too late. And Siakam missed a bunny. I mean, Lee, you saw this. You cannot ask for a better shot. He attacked. Good. Went to the rim. Nice call by Nick Nurse, too. This was after a nice defensive play where they trapped, I think it was Beasley, got him to step out of bounds, even give them a chance to tie this game. And Siakam, man, you got like impossible not to sort of feel for the guy. Like he's just dropping F-bombs. Like he couldn't believe he just missed a finger roll. I mean, he's at the rim. Nice D from the, was it McLaughlin, I believe, sort of challenging him on the play. Like made it a little difficult, but still it's a layup. And it just like whoop in and out, and they obviously go on to lose. And this is not good. The Raptors, 4 of their next 5 games are against Milwaukee and Philadelphia. 4 of their next 5 against some of the best teams. And it's just a brutal, brutal loss. There's no way to put it. So I'm done talking about them until maybe a Drummond trade. So this could be intriguing because they may have to do something to sort of like just add a little injection, a little like energy to their season here. And I think a big part of it is this unfortunately having to play in Tampa. That's got to have some effect on them. They're brutal there. They always beat the Wolves at home. I mean, it had been like 16 straight, I think, in Toronto. Well, there goes that. I guess it's home in Tampa, so that streak's officially over. But yeah, Drummond. I mean, I'm not like convinced Drummond is solving all their problems and the Raptors are going to the championship by any means. But Masai knows that something's got to happen here to sort of like again kickstart this season again. I know that it had shifted a little bit where they started 2-8 and then they had a nice little patch there, but it's sort of back to where they were. They're just playing down to their competition. I don't know. Anything to add to this Drummond rumors, Tess? You love it as a Raps fan? Hate it? I mean, it all depends who's going back, but.
Right. I'm absolutely neutral on it. I know we're supposed to have hot takes in this business, but Andre Drummond isn't making them a top 4 seed if they're not that already. He's just not. He's not the most impactful when it comes to his numbers. His numbers don't equate to what impact he has on the floor. That's just the way it is. I would love to know what he's being traded for, because if this is getting into an auction amongst NBA teams, it sure feels like the Knicks sat Derrick Rose and then they got the package that they wanted from the New York Knicks. Now Andre Drummond's being sat a year after he was traded for a 2nd round pick. That's all he was traded for. What is he going to be traded for now? I just hope the Raps don't give up too much, because what is he doing for the Toronto Raptors? I just, as far as like a ball moving big, he's fine. He's an upgrade.
He's an upgrade. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's their biggest hole. So he fills it. It's just a stopgap. That's what it is. I'm not too pumped. I gotta say, as a homer, it's a nice guy. You know, the shoulders are going to be flying free in Tampa. No hair needed. It's nice and warm down there. But are you pumped? I'm not super pumped.
Lee, what do you think?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the deal is in the trade, NBA.com right now. I mean, could it be Lowry?
Absolutely. Could we said if that happens though, it's likely a 3rd team. I'm thinking
because the way I'm looking at it, it's like I mean I guess they would love to move on from Baines, but he's only making $7 million, so they need to. The salaries for Drummond and Lowry work pretty much perfectly, and then you would just basically make Fred your point guard, filling in that spot from Kyle Lowry as a full-time guy. And Lowry, the last year of his deal, I mean,
I think I said it to you last week. It would have to be for Drummond if you're taking Lowry out of the mix here and you're not involving Siakam or OG or Van Vliet, which they're not. It's got to be like Norm, Baines, McCaw, and like another one. And
even that still leaves you so short, really.
No, but I think if you get up to 4, you can do it for Drummond. But Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, those things are always like, they don't have to be exact. I know they have to be close, and I don't know if maybe they can garnish it with some picks or something like that. But it sort of feels to me like it might be Lowry, which is
What a tasty trade.
Garnish it.
Oh, I mean,
I'll sprinkle a little second round in here. I'll put a little first over here.
But why would you give up Lowry if you're trying to be good?
Yeah.
Well, but how else are you going to make it happen? Though? I mean, that's the thing.
good.
Like, I get it.
Be
Like,
the bag of beans, just like Skeet said. All those guys he listed.
I mean, hold on. If I'm the Cavs, I'm in all honesty, if I'm getting Norm, and then I'm getting like whatever, like a Matt Thomas or something, like it's like that's not brutal for a guy that you don't have in your long-term plans.
I agree, but I'm just trying to see if it even works like that. That's what I'm saying.
They'll figure it out. We'll hear about it. But to me, it tells us a couple of things. One, the Cavs are done. They're selling right now. They've been dropping out of the playoff picture. They're playing a really tough schedule right now. There was some question, are they going to try this again with Andre Drummond? Seemed like no, definitely going to be no now. But it also tells us the Raptors are buyers. There are teams out there, despite the fact that there are only 5 teams above 500 in the Eastern Conference, the Raptors are talking themselves into trying to make a run at the 4th seed, right? If they're going to be bringing in one of the biggest names on the trade deadline trading block, they're certainly going for it. At least they're keeping him away from a team like the Nets or from the Celtics. So they would be certainly thinking they have a chance at home court advantage in the first round, I'd be thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the East is still open. As much as it seems like the door is shut for the Raptors. Yeah, I'm not buying them as a top seed, but just as a bigger picture, I think the East is still very open, considering, the Sixers are an improving commodity. The Celtics are failing. The Nets are what they are right now. The Raps, I don't know if they can charge through that door, but I'd like to see a guy, Andre Drummond, traded 1 year for a second-round pick and then the next year for 5 guys. It's probably like the biggest upgrade or
in
NBA history or something.
I mean, and if it's for all these guys to make the books work, like guys are going to have to be dropped, obviously, from the Cavs roster and stuff like that, or a third team has to be involved somehow. I remember I went back and checked my notes here, Lee. It would be Norman Powell, Baines, Pat McCaw, and Matt Thomas. That would work.
It does work, yeah.
And then, of course, whatever sort of pick. Drummond's only 27 too. I keep forgetting that. It feels like a 35-year-old to me, but he's obviously put up great numbers and has been pretty solid for them. But yeah, you're right, Trey. That means they're moving on. Raps are buyers. This is exciting. Here's my question: do we do an emergency podcast if Andre Drummond is traded?
Well, let's see who the deal is for first.
I mean, if it's if Lowry's traded, absolutely, I think we do. But for what I just said, the Norm and the bag of beans deal, probably not.
If it's anything like the stream team, half of us will do the emergency pod because half of the people in the team stream think Andre Drummond's an all-star defensive player of the year. The other half think
defensive player of the year.
Boy. There's some. He was playing like a defensive player of the year. The other half,
he's not.
Well, the other, I'm with you. Hey, I'm on the other side where it's solid. But we've seen this movie before. The other half think he's not winning any games. So maybe half of us do the emerge pod. Like
that's what you want in a trade if it goes through. You want half the people saying this is a horrible trade, the other half saying this is a great trade. Look at this. That's perfect. That makes
JD, what do you think? Break the tie. The tie, JD. Andre Drummond. Emergency pod.
We are doing a podcast of Drummond. Come on.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
I got nothing better to do.
Oh man, I love it.
We're seeing a good little battle here between Shams and Woj as well, because Shams is saying the Raptors and Cavs are engaged in active talks on a potential deal. Woj's last tweet is Cleveland is starting to gauge the market Andre Drummond, but there are no serious ongoing trade discussions with any team now.
Oh boy,
tell ESPN. So interesting.
Who you got? All right. So look, hey, we might be back later today for the emergency Andre Drummond to the Raptors trade. We'll find out. We do have tweet of the night still, but before that, quick word from our sponsors.
Here's an ad for our product I use. Masterclass. People who are at the absolute top of their fields teach their expertise, such as chess, sex, cooking, whatever. Yes, I said sex. It's true.
Sex sells.
I watched The Art of Negotiation with Chris Voss. To make things clear, it had nothing to do with sex. But Voss taught me that we are all innately just more inclined to want to say no when someone asks something of us. It's like a defense mechanism. We want to protect ourselves. It starts from when we're a kid. Hey, kid, can you do that? No, because you think that you're protecting yourself. So when I needed an early check-in time at a hotel, decided to use his mechanism, decided to use his tools. So I didn't go in and say, hey, can you give me an early check-in time? The answer would have been no. So I went up to the guy and I said, would it be difficult for you to give me an early check-in time? Mm-hmm. If he says no, then he's not good at his job. But he didn't say yes right away. It started a discussion. And I did end up getting the check-in time. And then we had sex. I'm just kidding. Learn from the world's best minds. Anytime, anywhere, at your own pace. As you heard, I learned from a hostage negotiator and how he negotiates with terrorists. It was very interesting. I've watched Steph Curry shoot a basketball 1,000,000 times on Masterclass. Not as interesting as watching Lee shoot pre-show 1,000,000 times, but still interesting. And I learned how to make an old-fashioned with beeswax. It was very interesting and tasty. It was hard work, actually. Anyway, Masterclass has a slick app where you can learn from over 100 lessons on iOS, Android, desktop, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku. Whatever you got. I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a No Dunks listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/nodunks. That's masterclass.com/nodunks for 15% off Masterclass.
Great stuff. Okay, time for tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
After some, serious negotiating, I think I ended up with tweet of the night here on Monday. Is that right, Lee?
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it was all a blur, but I'll take it because I got a good one. It's actually circling back to something we talked about on the Drop podcast and had started even earlier. Us, as part of like the Athletic podcast universe, asking you guys if we were in the Marvel universe, which characters would we be? And we answered for each other. We had some great answers. So you're seeing it here if you're on the stream team. Stefan Vasilev, who does great work for us all the time. He is one of the Photoshop boys. He did this, well, let's be honest, very creepy but incredible Photoshop of us five in our Marvel characters, mashed together. Lee as Drax. Incredible.
So good.
So good. Tass, if you're a little confused who Tass is, he was the absorbing man. That was a deep pull there in the Marvel characters, but that's who he is. I'm Thanos, very creepy with the beard. JD is bang on as Thor, looking very sexy, I gotta say, JD.
Hey, wow.
And my favorite, though, it really is, and I love all of them, but Trey as Groot, I get with the beard is just incredible work. So that's, again, at I'm Stefan Vasilev on Twitter, always coming through with gems like this. The No Dunk Cinematic Universe. That's who we are. How did everybody feel about their looks? Lee, what'd you think of Drax there?
I couldn't stop looking at JD. I'm sorry. It's just that hair there is just so sexy. I mean, I
gotta get a wig, man. I gotta get a wig.
And that was Big Thor, right? That was Fat Thor.
That's Fat Thor. Still sexy.
Yeah.
Just like me.
That's amazing.
You never lose it.
Never lose it.
Trey, have you been just saying I am Groot all weekend long? Walking to the kids? No?
Actually, people said for me, if I really was Groot, which first of all, I never realized I looked so much like a tree man. That was just like a flawless Photoshop. Barely anything changed. But instead of saying I am Groot, if I were Groot, the people on Twitter said that my catchphrase would just be saying "Bulls are back" every single time I talk, which pretty much true.
Yeah. And Tass, you look cool as absorbing man, even though I have still no idea who the hell that is. Yeah.
Oh, he always just says, "I am paper towel" because he's absorbing everything. Is he in a movie?
I don't think so. I think he's part of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. I don't know. Is it Vin Diesel? Somebody said? Didn't Trey say that? I thought no.
Vin Diesel is Groot, but people were saying that Tass looked like Dominic Toretto from the Fast and Furious.
No doubt. With the tank top. Somebody just said I look like Shea Serrano here in the in the team stream, which is totally true.
Oh man. Okay. Well, absorbing man, you are. I love it. Great stuff. Again, thank you, Stefan Vassal. That was very, very funny. Pick 'em results from Friday night, way back to Friday night. It was the Bucks Jazz game. Jazz were favored by 1.5. I told you. I said, look, Friday night Jazz, that's a victory guaranteed. Thought they would then lose following it up, and then we would have to like rag on them here on Monday. But no, they continued the hot streak. So Trey got it right. Lee got it right. I got it right. Tess swerved. You know, he didn't want the 4-man team picking all the same team. So Tass is 4-6, Trey's 4-6, and Lee and I are 5-5. So very, very close. I think there's 7 games on tonight, I should say. No day games, which is a little weird being the holiday Tass. But who do we have? What's our game?
Well, it's going to be an emotional game for John Wall going back to Washington for the first time as a member of the Houston Rockets. He played them earlier this year, but that was in Houston. He said this past week, according to our Fred Katz on The Athletic, that he still watches the Wizards games. Who wouldn't want to watch Bradley Beal, as he said? And he voted for Bradley Beal for the All-Star game, which I find kind of strange. You know, you think about it, because, okay, players can vote for who they want, but they vote as a fan. And then later on, they actually vote as players as well.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
The double vote.
Double vote. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of problems with voting in this country. I mean, this is something else. Anyway, so John Wall going back. Washington's favored by 1.5 points over Houston. So basically a pick 'em. And the Rockets will definitely be without Christian Wood. I think they'll be without Victor Oladipo, if I'm not mistaken. But the Wizards will be without Russell Westbrook, most likely, because this is the second game of a back-to-back. So it's really just John Wall against the city of Washington. Who you got? Trey, start us up.
I like the revenge game aspect, no doubt about it, especially with that great piece dropping at The Athletic. You know, you got to show up after you're talking about the team that you were watching. Yeah. So I don't like that Christian Wood isn't playing. The Rockets have really struggled without Christian Wood, but give me Houston. I'm here for the revenge game.
All right, Skeets.
I think, I'm excited actually to watch this one. It's on NBA TV, I think, tonight at 7. I love the Wall versus Beal. They're buds. You know, look, they're both going to try and put up big numbers. Give me Washington. I can't believe it that I'm taking the Wizards, but I think Beal will outplay Wall. I think he's going to have a monster game in this on, quote unquote, national television here. So I'll take the Wizards to stay hot and win another one here after beating, the Celtics in their last game. I got Washington.
Okay. We got a splitter. Lee, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, the Rockets have been playing terrible basketball lately, but I just feel John Wall's going to want this one badly tonight. Russell Westbrook doesn't play in the second night of back-to-backs, but I don't think he's been officially ruled out.
I know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It was a day game yesterday. They had a win. If Westbrook's like, sorry, I'm playing this one. So I suspect he might play. But I just feel John Wall is going to really want this one badly. It's such a close line. I'll take the Rockets.
All right, I'll make it a full splitter. I'm going Washington Wizards.
Okay.
Who knows?
Okay. So Washington's got to win by 2 or more, of course, for Tass and I to get the victory. Lee and Trey going with the Rockets. Speaking of the Wizards and Westbrook, I forgot to slip this in because I think I got a little distracted with the Drummond trade rumors there. But just a mini loser of the weekend to Westbrook, despite getting a victory. Did you guys see him miss the airball free throw, Lee? I had to show you this. We're showing everybody on the stream team right now. Westbrook at the line. Okay, whatever. Gonna knock. He's not the greatest free throw shooter as it is, but man, he leaves this one way short. And then a fantastic reaction from Russ.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Say, hang on, something's wrong here. That wasn't me.
That's the net.
So someone's messing with me here.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of those actually. LeBron had a couple. I think we didn't have one real bad one. And I remember someone else earlier in the season, like a good player, had an airball. Maybe we should start tracking those as well as wedgies.
Oh boy. No. I didn't. Just speaking of bad shots, didn't Kyrie have a wide open 3-pointer in the corner versus the Warriors on Saturday night and clank it off the side? Did you guys see that? It was somewhat. It must have been the first half. Just like he did the old put his hand up, yep, sorry.
Yeah,
that's me. Just hit the side of the backboard like a Paul George. Yep, sorry about that. Very, very weird. I guess it slips out of the hand every once in a while, but yeah. Russ, dumbfounded. That'll be in whoopsies. That'll be in the bloops for sure later this week. Just his reaction alone. Okay, fun show. I'm sure we missed some of your winners and losers of the NBA weekend, so let us know in the stream team, in the YouTube comments. Tweet at us at NoDunksInc. Grab your No Dunks merch at NoDunks.com. Keep emailing in your questions, NoDunks@theathletic.com for our Beach Steppin' podcast. Like, comment, subscribe to No Dunks on our YouTube channel. You never know. Might be back later today with the Andre Drummond trade going down. Oh, JD, don't leave your computer. We'll be back in a couple hours. And Trey said it. You guys were talking about that Fred Katz article. Go subscribe to The Athletic for $3.99 a month right now, theathletic.com/no-dunks to get great content, from guys like Fred Katz, from animals like Fred Katz over at The Athletic. Shout out to Fred. All right, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Well, speaking of cats, thanks for joining us. And remember, Russell Westbrook said he's a dog. If you remember, not a cat.
He's a cat.
Yeah.
Still angers.
It's a fair debate.
He's a Fred Katz. Embrace the day, people.
You could stay